Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
This short break from civilization is brought to you by the Ford Bronco. Get back out there. The Ford Bronco. Built wild. Learn more at Ford.com/Bronco.
Hi, it's Dave here. So what you're going to hear today is not our usual format. So we recorded our Beetlejuice thoughts live in front of an audience at the Cork Opera House as part of the Cork Podcast Festival recently. So we're not walking home from the movies in this episode. So there is a live audience. And as such, we won't be doing Spoiler Street for this movie because some people in the audience had not seen Beetlejuice. Hard to believe, I know. So here is our episode recorded live at the Cork Opera House.
When I was a teenager, a trickster demon terrorized our entire family and tried to force me to marry him. I believed he was gone forever until you found this in the attic.
Ew. Who's Beetlejuice?
Don't ever say that name.
Beetlejuice.
No, Astrid! I am serious! If you say his name 3 times, he will appear.
Beetlejuice.
The juice is loose. I'm gonna make you so happy.
So hi, I'm Dave, and this is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
And this is the Cinemile. It's the podcast where we walk home from the movies, and sometimes we get to sit in nice chairs at the Cork Opera House. Big round of applause for the Cork Opera House. So if you're listening at home to this on our podcast feed in the future, you should know. Yeah, it's exactly as you imagine. It's the Cork Opera House. There's somewhere between 40 and 1,000 people in front of us. I think I see my mom up in the nosebleed seats. Hi, Mom. There she is.
There's my mom. Hi, Mom.
All our moms are here. Did everyone else bring their mom? Yeah? You got that memo? Great. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Is anybody here that we're not related to?
Correct, yeah, that's... Oh! We're all from Cork, right? We're all related, let's face it. Probably all cousins. So, today, we're going to be talking about Beetlejuice, right? So, a few people going, oh no, I didn't see that. Didn't see that one. Don't worry, we're going to be talking about some other stuff as well. Actually, big cheer if you have seen Beetlejuice. Oh, wow, 4 people have seen it. That's great. The box office says otherwise. Who saw the original Beetlejuice? One Beetlejuice. Okay, all right. Don't worry. It's just more of that. So, Kathy, we have not discussed this movie at all, right? We've both seen it, naturally. Separately.
Because we never talk about a movie
together. This is fresh.
Till we record.
This is fresh off the block. So I don't know what she thinks, except I think I know what she thinks. So Kathy, before you went to this movie, what was your sort of state of mind? How were you feeling? Were you excited?
Well, I went with my mom in the middle of the day and wasn't working, so that was really fun. So we were in a good mood. I was excited for the movie because I think the trailer was great, and we rewatched the original earlier this year. We were quite excited for it. And then I was a little bit concerned because I don't know what Tim Burton does lately, but I'm generally not into it.
He hasn't done anything great in decades, has he?
But overall, I was excited, and I'd seen kind of good box office figures, positive-ish sentiment. Yeah, I was pumped. What about you?
No, I wasn't pumped. Didn't want to see this. This is another one of those examples where, because of this podcast, we just kind of have to go to this stuff. And no, I'm not keen. I wasn't keen on yet another Lego sequel. Didn't look good. Tim Burton hasn't done anything good in 20 years. So that's where my head was at. What's your vibe on like the original? We watched it a few years ago, right? How do you feel about that? What's your relationship to the Beetlejuice property?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Probably as most kiddish teenagers at the time did when it came out. Obviously loved Winona Ryder as a young girl. Loved Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. Loved the original music. Yeah, I loved it, to be honest. And on a rewatch, it still held up. It's still a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's largely, I think it really holds up because of Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, right? Absent from this one, by the way. Alec Baldwin's going through a few things. But the more I thought about it recently, Beetlejuice kind of has been an enduring pop culture thing. And I think was a big part of my teenage years. I definitely went through the goth phase like a lot of people. I used to flirt with hanging out at Paul Street. Shout out to Paul Street around the corner. Definitely flirted with. Do you remember my goth phase, Mom? No, yeah, she doesn't.
That's
because I never went.
Did you wear black eyeliner?
No, never did the eyeliner. That was that. I didn't come home like that because it's very expensive look. The Doc Martens and the leather jacket. It's such an expensive vibe.
Yeah.
So no, I just sort of
flirted then.
Well, I watched Beetlejuice and thought that looks like a bit of fun. But no, I had the toy. I remember having toys of Beetlejuice as a kid. It was a weird movie.
I think it came with Happy Meals.
Toy line.
It was a Happy Meal kind of thing.
Yeah. Did anyone else have the Beetlejuice toys? No. Okay. Well, they did exist, all right. I'm not weird.
No, because you squeeze them and the eyes would pop out.
That's right. Yes, Kathy. There was also an animated series. Does anyone remember the animated series of Beetlejuice? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Love it. 4 seasons that ran for. And I've got some fun facts that we recycled from when we did our Patreon episode on Beetlejuice.
Yeah, we were recycling our own old notes for this.
This is great. We had to do no prep. Can anyone in the audience tell me, you'll never guess this, who did Tim Burton want to play Beetlejuice originally? Does anybody know? Shout out, if you just shout out some random guesses. Johnny Depp is a great and obvious answer. It's not the right answer. Does anyone else have a guess? Who did he want? Kevin Spacey is creepy enough to be Beetlejuice, for sure. It's not the right answer. I don't think anyone's going to get this. I'm going to say it was Sammy Davis Jr. from the Rat Pack.
You told me this before and I've forgotten.
Yeah.
It's too weird.
Because it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It instantly exits your brain as soon as you hear it.
Would have been really interesting, though.
It would. Interesting, sure.
But no one can beat...
Very odd.
No one can beat this guy, I think.
No, Michael Keaton's good in this. And he's not to, spoil what we're going to talk about in a minute, but he's good in here as well. Right, so how many minutes, can anyone tell me, is Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice on screen in the first Beetlejuice for, out of 91? 14 is really close. 17. Whoever said 17 is correct. 17 minutes of Michael Keaton.
You get no prize.
Yeah. You didn't bring the prizes?
No, sorry.
Oh, yeah. This movie won an Oscar. Can anyone tell me for which category? Makeup is correct. Best makeup. Such good makeup. If you've been watching the TikTok promotional videos for Beetlejuice, that Oscar winner was not carried through. What else? Oh yeah, there was supposed to be, this is the last one, there was supposed to be a sequel for Beetlejuice, which was in development hell for many years. It was called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. Right? In which the plot was Charles, the father, is building a resort on an ancient Hawaiian burial ground. And a spirit is awakened and Beetlejuice beats him in a surfing contest.
This is real.
That's what you could have had.
There was another sequel that was supposed to be Beetlejuice, like a romantic Beetlejuice in love. And it was going to be in Paris, I think.
Was there?
There's shades of that in this movie, actually, the Beetlejuice in love bit.
Yeah, he's weirdly obsessed with Winona Ryder, who in the first one is, 15 or something? Let's not forget.
Yeah. But he's also like 800 years old, so he's older. It makes no difference if she's 15 or 30.
That's a worse age gap.
I guess there's such a huge age gap anyway. But yeah, the sequel, and I think up until the 2010s, they were still pitching that Beetlejuice in Hawaii thing.
Yeah, they couldn't. They did not
really
let that go.
wanted to do it. Yeah.
It
sounds awful.
Tim Burton said that he liked the contrast between Hawaii and German expressionism. Right, so Kathy, let's get into this.
So usually when we reviews, we do go to spoiler street and spoil them. We won't do that because you can't turn off here. You have to keep listening, and we will not spoil this film for anyone. So we're just going to talk about it in broad terms. I had a total blast of this film. I laughed a lot, as did my mom. Mom couldn't remember Beetlejuice 1 and still... You did it backwards. She watched
Straight back, double bill.
I think it really holds up as a sequel. I think... Obviously, you're there for Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder is somebody in Stranger Things that I've not particularly enjoyed because I felt like it's potentially a bit of overacting, but I was really happy to see her back in her comfort zone. I'd say she's very comfortable with Tim Burton. I like to see her. And then Catherine O'Hara is like the big treat as back again as the kind of stepmom character. And it pays really good homage to the first film in a lot of ways. Jenny Ortega is like the huge new Gen Z movie star who's also the star of Wednesday Addams. She's kind of been billed as the new Winona Ryder, so she was amazing casting for this, and I would say is contributing to the box office success because she's out doing a lot of promotional work. Justin Theroux I love always, but I think his character in this film is a bit silly, maybe not needed, albeit
I enjoyed
him, but it didn't quite work for me. And then Monica Bellucci's in it, who's Tim Burton's girlfriend, so everyone rolls their eyes because he always puts his...
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, and he
I don't pay
puts his
attention to the
romantic
gossip,
partners.
but I did look into this.
Like, if he was still married to Helen Bonham Carter, it would have been her. But Monica Bellucci's great, I enjoyed her, but her plot was fun, but also there was just a lot going on with her plot as well, the Justin Theroux plot. I felt like one of them should have been dropped. But yeah, had a great time with it and laughed a lot.
I really like this movie too. It's much better than I thought. Maybe because my expectations were so low, it could only have gone up. But it was funny. I laughed. If I was by myself, by the way. I wasn't invited with Kathy and her mom in the middle of the day, so I naturally went by myself. Which I don't know. I like going to the cinema by myself. I don't know if anyone. Mom's putting her hands up. You could have gone with me. I actually feel really bad now. I didn't invite you, Mom. Would you have come with me to Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice? Yes, of course you go. Okay, we should talk more. I promise you, Mom, we'll go to the third one together. Beetlejuice, or maybe the next one, Beetlejuice. If I'm around. So, I deserve that.
You do deserve that.
I think I was by myself with the Gen Z, the aforementioned Gen Z people.
Comedies are better with somebody else, I think.
This is true. Mm-hmm. So laughing by yourself when there's other people around is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is true.
He does laugh at his own jokes.
I have done that. Are there anyone from Gen Z here tonight?
From Gen Z. It's not an alien planet. What does it mean? They're born after the
traffic
year...
here? Did you get here okay from Gen Z?
Does Gen Z mean they're born after the year 2000?
I think so.
So that's what you ask.
Were you born? Was anyone here born after the year 2000? No, this is our crowd. I love it. I feel comfortable.
So you can talk about them then.
Yeah. Jenny Ortega and all them. No, she's good. She's great.
Brilliant.
Jenny Ortega's great.
I
haven't watched Wednesday because I think I'm too old for that. Am I?
I watched the first episode.
No? Oh, we've gone off. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and it's not for me, but she's brilliant.
She's good.
She was in another Lego sequel, which was when Scream came back.
Oh yeah.
So she's out here reviving franchises for everyone, you know.
She's just out there doing God's work.
Yeah.
Bringing old IP back so Gen Z can see, oh, what's this thing?
Getting bums
They're
on
not here,
seats
so we
in the
can
cinema.
talk about them.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's fine.
But all the new characters, to me were great. She's really good. She's really she's a good foil for Winona Ryder. I liked their plot together without going into too much detail. Their mother and daughter. There's a bit of heart to that. It's nice. This film passes the Bechdel test. If anyone doesn't know what that is, do you want to explain what that is, Kathy?
It's a very basic test that most films fail, which is where you need two female characters who have a conversation with each other that isn't about a man. And almost all films fail it because almost all films have male central characters. Obviously, Beetlejuice does have his name is in the movie, but at the beginning of the film, a lot of the characters aren't aware of him. Ergo, they're just not talking about him.
That's right. And Beetlejuice isn't the primary character of this movie or the previous one because he has no character arc. He's not somebody you go on a journey with. He's a joke character.
You do get a bit of a fun backstory on him in this film, though.
That is very fun.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I enjoyed that. There's a lot, and look, Michael Keaton's good in this. He's a fun. He's the trickster demon. It's just funny that this movie refers to him as a demon. Winona Ryder says he's a demon that haunted me or whatever. Now I always thought he was a ghost.
He's the ghost with the most.
He's the ghost with the most. That's the tagline. So what do you guys think? Shout out, big cheer if you think Beetlejuice is a ghost. Oh wow, I'm gonna lose this one.
Wow.
Shout out if you think Beetlejuice is a demon. Oh wow, both. I like that. Yeah, why
but
not?
Dave said to me last night, people are going to be really interested in whether he's a ghost or a demon, and I said, no one will give a fuck.
It's clear.
And I was right. Nobody cared.
You were right. She's always right. I thought that was going to be... That's the whole rest of the show. We were going to get into the demon-ghost differences. But you know what? We are going to get into it, because a ghost is somebody who was previously a human and then became deceased and is now a ghost, right? Which
I don't
this
know.
movie confirms in its origin story. A demon is somebody who is another being that has always been a demon, right?
I have no idea.
He's clearly a ghost.
He is
Thank
a
you,
ghost.
Owen.
I think the reason...
Am I turning you around? Am I bringing the demon crowd with me here?
Winona Ryder might have thought he was the demon because she communes with ghosts, and he's a bit different because you have to summon him.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas she just kind of
She's
organically
wrong.
communes with the ghosts.
Yeah.
I think one of the really good things about the first Beetlejuice movie and why it became such a classic is actually the world building of the afterlife, and that's the stuff that everyone remembers, and that really resonates. And I think, in fairness to this film, they continued that. The
Yes.
afterlife is a real kind of tangible place. There's stuff happening there. Some of it better than others, maybe, but I like that it continued that. There's a great cameo from Danny DeVito in the afterlife, which I really enjoyed. And then we haven't mentioned Willem Dafoe is in a very rare comedic role. And he's very funny. But again, there's so many characters, I nearly forgot he was in it.
I thought all the new characters were great.
Yeah.
This film, and that's what my main issue with the film is. It's got too much stuff in it.
Yeah,
it's jam packed. It's too much. Willem Dafoe, and everyone's doing great work. But you've got Monica Bellucci comes on as a brand new character in one of the best intros. I think
great.
You'll see what a great, for anyone who's seen it, right? The way she appears in the movie and is introduced is fantastic. And then she just disappears for like the rest of it until Act 3 and shows up, and then it's resolved. So she was wasted
Spoiler.
as a villain. Spoiler, Act 3 resolves the plot. So she's wasted. There's a whole other villain character that I won't get into that also isn't resolved very well. There's like the movie has so much momentum and steam in the Act 1 and Act 2, and you're like, this is great. There's great setup. There's loads of stuff happening. It's funny. It's really punchy. And then it just can't really bring everything together, and I found it
I totally
ultimately
disagree.
unsatisfying.
Because for me, it got better in Act 3 because it went really off the rails and really weird and kooky.
Yeah.
And actually just offed some characters that I was happy about. So no spoilers as to who they are. Had a
People die.
really good sequence in Act 3 that I loved, and I smiled the whole way through. A really, really funny musical number. And then, at the beginning, I was more like, oh God, it's a bit teen angsty. I'm not that into it. And by the end, I really, really loved it. So, I had a good journey.
By the way, I agree with you. That sequence, and if you've seen the movie, you'll know what we're talking about, is fantastic. There's a great musical sequence, but it's not enough. It's not enough to bring the plot and all the characters home.
I didn't care. I watched the movie
It's good
just
fun.
for that sequence, honestly. Yeah.
And I will say, this isn't a spoiler, but the song I had not heard. There's a song used in a prominent scene in the end. And I looked up the song, and this is a fun fact. Does anyone
You
know?
have to sing them the song, though.
Something about a wedding cake, was it? Rainy wedding cake. How does it go?
Left a cake out in the rain. That one. Does anyone
Come on,
know
once
that?
more with feeling.
No. Does anyone know that song?
MacArthur's Park. Yes.
Yes,
that's
thank
it.
you.
So Linda knows that song. It's an epic song. It is an epic song. Do you know who sings the song? Because I only found this out after I Googled it 10 minutes ago. It was Richard Harris. Thank you.
Very good.
Who's that? Is that Finn? Good shout, Finn. Richard Harris sang this. And look up the story of this. It's fantastic. He decided in 1967 he wanted to be... He was an actor, a successful actor at that stage. He said, I want to be a pop star. And then just started reaching out to people. And this songwriter went back to him. He had no one to write the song. And he said, all right, Richard, let's try this one. And then he met him in London. This is, according to the article, they had 30 brandies, went through a load of songs he'd written, and then he picked MacArthur Park, and then they went and recorded it that day after all that brandy.
Really?
Yeah, and then and that was his debut. So yeah, it's a great song.
First and last?
This was 10 minutes of research. I didn't go either for you. Was it his last song? Did Richard Harris have a successful pop career? Everyone knows that. No, we're all saying no.
think so.
We're all saying no. Another thing I'd like to raise is the movie had two things to deal with, right? In terms of like big problems. One, Alec Baldwin. Which they dealt with. I won't speak to it, but him and Gina Davis are not in this movie. I think that's clear if you're in the trailer.
Because I think primarily they can't have aged. They're ghosts and they're a lot older. So unless you go down a real AI route that I don't feel would be Tim Burton's jam. And then, whereas with Beetlejuice, because he wears so much makeup, I mean, he effectively looks the same.
Yeah, he does.
He's the only character that
Oscar-winning
you could say, look, it's the same character, like, believably.
Well, also Winona Ryder is dressed, has the exact same hairstyle and dress sense as she did in whatever,
which makes
36
no sense.
years ago.
If anyone remembers, her fringe was like just loads of
Just
triangles,
the same fringe.
which made sense for like a 17-year-old emo and is a bit bizarre now at her age.
Yeah, is anyone dressed the same as they were when they were 16? Obviously I am, because I never went through my goth phase. Right? But the other thing this movie has to face is that the actor that played the father in the original Beetlejuice is Jeffrey Jones, who is a convicted sex offender. So
they couldn't bring him back.
Everyone's nodding along like, so yeah, you can't bring him back. That's a no-brainer. So you sit in the room and you say, right, here's a big problem. So obviously we're not bringing Jeffrey Jones back, okay? But how do you acknowledge that character? How do you acknowledge him out of it? Now, if you ask me, how you do that is, he died. Remember when Dad died? Yeah. That was ages ago.
I wouldn't have even mentioned him. But I think what they did was cleverer, which is that his death kicks off the movie. It's the big event.
Now, yeah, the issue I had with that is that he's in the movie.
His character's in the movie.
We won't spoil it. The actor is not in the movie, but they found a way to get Jeffrey Jones's face in this movie.
I thought it was weird his face.
A lot, and this is also in the trailer, so not a spoiler, but there is a funeral for him, which you can go and look at it in the trailer, with Jeffrey Jones's face right there. So all of those actors and us as an audience had to watch a memorial for that actor who is an alive convicted sex offender. That didn't sit well with me. And it was so easy, it didn't need to happen.
They didn't need his face. I think killing him off as a catalyst for a ghost movie makes sense. Someone's just died. But yes, I agree with you on the choice to use the actor's likeness. I don't think they should have done it.
But yeah, because nobody's that attached to the dad from Beetlejuice.
He must have got paid if his face is in it. That's even worse.
You might be right, yeah.
The whole Cork Opera thing. Sorry.
Yeah,
no, you might be right. So somebody in the audience has just pointed out that he may have been paid because his image has been used. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, and George McFly, they had him upside down and changed the actor, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe there's a loophole that if you're on a grave, you don't get paid.
I reckon if it's a still from the first movie, you might get around it, which I'd say it's a publicity still from the first movie. Anyway, we're going way down a rabbit hole on that.
Were you going to say something, Joe? He had no lines. It wasn't a talking part. Yeah,
that's true. I think Catherine O'Hara's resurgence, particularly with Schmitt's Creek, is Schitt's Creek.
You've really offended the Schitt's Creek fans.
Sorry. It's not a show I've watched.
Schmitty's Valley, was it? How was it called?
But I think funny that they've been knocking around Beetlejuice sequels for so long, because Winona Ryder is really only back in the last 10 years, right, from Stranger Things, which is a humongous success. Catherine O'Hara is back from Schmitty Creeks. And obviously Michael Keaton has kind of been back in like the Spider-Man movies, and he had his big Birdman resurgence.
Movies.
He was in it, wasn't he? He was Zendaya's dad.
Oh, he was in that. Sorry, I thought you were thinking of Batman because he came back as Batman.
Obviously he's back as Batman.
Excuse me. Yeah,
so I think he's kind of back in consciousness. So I think the success of it is really timely right now. And obviously Jenny Ortega, as we mentioned, a young person.
The iron was hot.
Justin Theroux of all of them. The Justin Theroux of it all, I think he could have just been gone, and it truly would have made as much as I enjoyed him. Now you do have to point out Bob in the poster there. So Bob is the shrinky head guy from like the end of the last movie. who's barely in the last movie and is now like a main character, but I had no problem with that.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
And honestly, I'm there for Bob. Bob is so merchandisable. Look at him. I definitely had a Bob toy as a kid.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think that's. I mean, is there anything else you wanted to say? There was one joke about a soul train that made me die inside, and the movie thought it was so funny, and then just lingered in the joke for too long.
Yeah, it was a bit cringe. I think the Soul Train. I enjoyed it, but then I got over it very quickly.
And that was our episode on Beetlejuice. Thank you for listening, and thank you to everyone who came along to see us at the Cork Opera House. We really appreciate that. As always, if you want to chat to us, we are at The Cinemile on Instagram, YouTube, Letterboxd, or you can email us, thecinemile@gmail.com. If you've enjoyed this or any other episode that we've done, please do consider leaving us a nice review on your podcatcher of choice. Otherwise, we will see you next week.